All right, let's dive in. Today we're looking at the future of SEO in an AI world, which is kind of a big deal for anyone who wants to be found online.
Yeah.
We've got some seriously insightful stuff from Eric C. and Neil Patel, two of the biggest names in digital marketing. So we're going to see what they have to say about AI and SEO and what it means for the rest of us.
Well, for years, it's been this whole SEO is dead thing, right? Especially with AI getting so much attention.
Yeah.
But C and Patel, they're looking at the data and they're just not buying it. They're saying that traffic from Google search is actually still on the rise every year.
Oh, interesting. So even with all the new AI stuff, people are still using good old Google.
Yep, that's what the data shows. But they do think that SEO is changing. They're calling it search everywhere optimization.
Okay, search everywhere optimization. I like that. So what exactly does that mean?
So they're basically saying that Google isn't the be-all and end-all of search anymore. Think about it. Younger people, they're all over TikTok and Instagram, and they're using those platforms to search for stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I've definitely noticed that. I'll see people asking for product recommendations on TikTok or searching for travel inspiration on Instagram.
Exactly. So if you want to reach those users, you can't just focus on Google. You need to optimize for all sorts of platforms.
Right. So how does that work? What does that actually look like for, say, someone with a blog or a small business? How do they get noticed in this search everywhere world?
Well, C and Patel really emphasize building a genuine community around your brand. With so much AI-generated content out there, They say that real human connection is becoming even more valuable.
Okay, that makes sense. People want to connect with other people, not just robots.
Exactly. And user-generated content, it's like gold now.
So building community. How do you actually do that in a way that helps with SEO? Are there any real-world examples of this working?
Oh, absolutely. Look at companies like HubSpot, Zapier, and Shopify.
Okay, yeah, I know those companies.
They've all made community building a priority, and they've seen massive growth because of it.
Interesting. And you know what? Now that you mention it, it makes sense when you think about Google's EAT guidelines. Expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness.
Exactly. A strong community helps you build all of that.
So building community isn't just some feel-good thing. It can actually have a real impact on your search ranking. It makes you think, how could I build a community around, my own interests or business?
It's definitely something to think about.
Right.
It's like a win-win. You build connections and boost your SEO at the same time. And speaking of AI, we should probably talk about how to actually use it effectively.
Yeah, let's get practical here.
CEO and Patel, they're not about just blindly jumping on every AI trend.
Right.
They're all about strategy. In fact, they actually ran an experiment where they compared AI-generated content to content written by humans.
Oh, wow. I'm really curious to hear about this. What happened?
Well, it turns out the human-written content, it consistently outperformed the AI stuff when it came to driving traffic.
Interesting. So it's not about letting the robots take over, but figuring out how to use AI in a smart way, right?
Yeah.
To make our jobs easier and more effective.
Exactly. It's all about amplifying what we do best as humans, CEO and Patel talk a lot about using AI for automation, like those tasks that just take forever and honestly kind of suck the life out of you.
Oh, I know those tasks all too well. So, what are some examples of things you could automate?
Well, CEO talks about this idea of agentic workflows.
Agentic workflows. Okay, that sounds kind of fancy. What does it mean?
Basically, it means setting up automated processes to handle certain tasks. So, for instance, C's agency uses these workflows to do things like find similar pieces of content that could be combined to improve SEO.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So instead of having someone manually sift through everything.
Right. They also use AI to automatically suggest internal links, which can be a huge time saver.
Definitely. Internal linking, it can be a real pain, especially if you have a ton of content on your site.
For sure. Now, here's something both C and Patel really emphasize, and I think it's super important. Don't get so caught up in the latest trends that you forget about the fundamentals, the things that actually drive revenue.
Yeah, easy to get distracted by shiny objects, but at the end of the day, it's all about results.
Right. Exactly. They actually surveyed businesses making over $100 million a year, and guess what they found?
What?
A lot of these companies were spending tons of time and money on things like organic social media, but not seeing the same ROI they were getting from things like paid ads, SEO, and influencer marketing.
So it's about being strategic.
Yeah.
using your resources wisely, right?
Yeah.
And choosing the channels that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck.
Exactly. And this is where AI can be a huge help. You can use it to optimize your ad campaigns, fine-tune your SEO strategy, or even find the best influencers to work with.
Okay, so AI isn't just about content creation. It can actually help with all aspects of marketing.
Yeah, exactly. It can make you way more efficient and effective. So speaking of the future of marketing, we should talk about voice search. Both C and Patel believe that within the next decade, voice search is going to be the main way people search for information.
Which makes sense, right? Voice search is already so integrated into our lives. We've got smart speakers, smart refrigerators, heck, even cars that talk back to you now.
Right, and it's only going to get more sophisticated as AI gets better.
I know Patel actually shared this funny story about his 3-year-old son ordering chocolate through Alexa.
Yeah, I remember that. I think I read that too.
It's a perfect example of how voice search is just becoming second nature, especially for kids who are growing up with it.
And Sue even talked about how companies like Amazon are incorporating really advanced AI like Anthropic into their devices.
So it's not just about basic commands anymore. We're talking about AI that can really understand us, and anticipate our needs. Like having a super smart assistant who's always one step ahead.
It's kind of wild when you think about it, right? But it also raises some interesting questions, like if search becomes this integrated into every part of our lives, how does that change the way we interact with brands, with information, even with each other?
Yeah, like what happens to privacy when our devices are constantly listening and, predicting what we're going to do next?
For sure. It's a double-edged sword. Like, on one hand, you've got this incredible level of personalization. On the other hand, you've got concerns about data, algorithms, manipulation. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it is. CEO and Patel also mentioned the rise of new media, specifically podcasting.
Yeah, they're big on podcasting.
They seem to think the podcasts have the potential to, overshadow traditional media outlets.
It's already happening in some ways. Think about how many political figures are choosing to go on podcasts instead of doing traditional media interviews.
That's true. I mean, even Donald Trump did that huge interview on the Joe Rogan Experience, which got something like 44 million views on YouTube alone.
Yeah. Crazy, right? That just shows you the power of these new platforms. People are craving those authentic conversations, those different perspectives. Podcasts give them that space in a way that traditional media often doesn't.
Right. It's a different vibe, a different level of depth.
And when you look at the numbers, there are 1 billion blogs out there, but only around 4 million podcasts.
Wow, that's a huge difference. So there's definitely room for growth in the podcasting world.
Definitely. And I think it's a really exciting space to be in right now, but marketers need to be adaptable and keep up with the trends.
It's all about experimenting, embracing those new technologies and finding creative ways to connect with your audience in this ever-changing digital world. Ultimately, C and Patel stressed that connection is key.
Definitely. Whether it's building strong communities or creating content that really resonates on a personal level or using AI to improve the user experience, the brands that are going to thrive are the ones that prioritize those genuine connections with their audience.
It's like you said before, it's about building relationships. It's not just about transactions anymore.
Yeah, it's all about going deeper. Right, like you were saying, building those relationships. It's like that old saying, people do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yep, and that's more important than ever, especially now with all the noise online,
Yeah.
You really got to stand out and connect with people on a human level.
Absolutely. So for everyone listening out there, what can they actually take away from all this and apply to their own businesses, in this crazy, fast-changing world?
That's the million-dollar question, right? What are the actionable steps here?
Well, first things first, don't freak out. SEO is not dead. It's just, it's evolving. Remember that search everywhere optimization idea?
Yeah.
Think about how you can reach your people, your audience, on the platforms where they actually hang out. Like we were saying, TikTok, Instagram, maybe even some new platform that pops up. Who knows?
Right. And the community thing, we can't stress that enough. Invest in building a real community around your brand. It helps your Google ranking, builds trust, and creates those human connections that are just so valuable now.
Totally. And when it comes to AI, just remember, it's a tool. not a replacement for you. Don't get swept up in the hype, use it strategically, automate those boring tasks, make your campaigns better, and, let it help you be even better at what you do.
Right. It's all about working smarter, not harder. And like we talked about, focus on those marketing channels that actually bring in the money. It's easy to get distracted, but stay focused on what gets results. That research from CU and Patel on those big companies, it was a real eye-opener.
Yeah, so many businesses wasting resources on things that just aren't working. It's got to be data-driven. Like, track your results, see what's working, what's not, adjust, be flexible.
Exactly. And most importantly, stay curious. The marketing world is never going to stop changing. So read those blogs, listen to those podcasts.
Oh, yeah. Definitely listen to those podcasts.
Go to those conferences, try new things, never stop learning.
Couldn't agree more. And to wrap up our little deep dive here, we want to leave you with one last thought, something to chew on.
All right, lay it on us.
So think about this. Search is everywhere now, right? Our phones, our homes, our cars. It's crazy. How do you think this is going to shape the way we connect with brands, with information, even with each other?
It's a big question. I mean, the lines are blurring, between the physical and digital world. Everything is changing, the way we search, the way we connect, the way we interact.
It's an exciting time to be in marketing, that's for sure. Full of opportunities, but also challenges.
Definitely. So listeners, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What are your predictions for the future of all this? Jump into the conversation, share your ideas, and let's explore this together.